It's time to sit down and relax for the good, the bad, and the sequel Q&A with your host, Doug.
Hey there, Doug here. Next week's film's a real good one. It's kind of why I love movie sequels and sort of how Jamie and I came up with the idea for this podcast. We want it to be unique, and sequels are awesome and unique. So that movie, of course, is Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, and we got not one but two interviews for it. Jamie really busted his ass reaching out to people. So Monday is my interview with Damon Standiford, who played the Wachati Chief. But today, we got an actor who provided a lot of comic relief as the chief's son, Ouda, who's played by Maynard Eziashi. Maynard was in the middle of a super popular play in London, but he was kind enough to carve out some time to chat with me about early on in his career, how he landed a role in the film Mr. Johnson, starring opposite Pierce Bronson, which is amazing. Talking about working with Jim Carrey, because they were a lot of comic relief, them two on screen, and so much more. This interview cost me $80 on my AT&T bill, so I hope you enjoy it. I kind of forgot that he was in London. I was calling him, but don't worry about it. Enjoy.
Hey, thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
No, not at all. You're very welcome.
Yeah. So what are you working on right now? You're over on, it's like Broadway in London?
Yes. I'm doing a theatre play, which, funnily enough, has been touring globally. I mean, so we were in America. We come back to America at the end of December. It's a play called Barbershop Chronicles.
Okay.
So yes, that's why we had difficulty in arranging the time.
Oh no, it's okay. So where's the play going to be when it's in the States, in New York?
I think we're going to be, it's going to be in Brooklyn at the BAM Festival, Brooklyn Arts and Music Festival.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'm in New Jersey, so not too far.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So what got you into acting, like growing up? Is it something that you always wanted to do, or?
I had a kind of funny path to acting. I started off life as a electronics engineer, and mainly because I was kind of good with numbers, and not that I really had any passion for it per se.
Yeah.
And then I found myself after I finished an education. I found I was working with a bunch of guys around about 35, 40, and at the time I was kind of 18. And it ended up being a rather debilitating affair. I mean, I would come into work and discuss, being a young man, and they would all look at me as if I told a bunch of lies. And we weren't really gelling. I was doing my best to see if, I could integrate myself into this atmosphere, but I couldn't. I became very kind of disillusioned. And so I tried to think of what I wanted to do. And the best way I could think of going about that was to list all the things I wanted out of a job. And I put things like travel, meeting people, the job had to be interesting, it had to be well paid if you were any good, as opposed to, just getting a regular figure at how good or bad you were.
Yeah.
And when I put all those things together and I looked at it, I thought, acting, yes, that fits all of those things. That's what I'll do. So it seemed as if it was a bit clinical, but I think deep down, I was intended, I was destined to become an actor, really, because I spent much of my life before then. I'd had a very interesting upbringing, let's say, so I found myself, and I was a quiet child, so I'd often watch people and watch their mannerisms and so on and so forth, and then I learned to be able to mimic them, and then because I watched people so intently, I found psychology and sociology, in fact, which became very interesting to me, and all those things I think make up acting.
Definitely be able to mimic other people, because you're going to play characters that aren't you. So how long were you in acting before you were in Mr. Johnson?
Well, I started acting when 1987. But and then I'd gone to drama college and done another degree, a theatre degree this time. And so I graduated in '89 from that, and then I think we shot Ace Ventura in '95.
Yeah, because I see this Pierce Bronson movie, and I'm like, wow, you started in '87, and this is in 1990, and that was a pretty big movie. You have Pierce Bronson, and
yeah, I mean, I'd actually graduated in, as I said, in '89.
Yeah.
So I got that movie pretty soon after graduation. You know, I wasn't really sure how big the movie was. In fact, there's a kind of famous quote I remember, because it was a long audition process over quite a few months, because I think they were searching, you know, internationally for this Wilson character. And I'd met the director, Bruce Beaufort, quite a few times. And I remember, I think about 4 times, and at the 5th audition, which I didn't know was the final audition, I remember asking them, well, how many people are still left in the race? But they said, oh, only 2. It's only you and one other person. That cheered me up. I thought, oh, that's good. So I've got a 50% chance of getting this. And then later on that day, they confirmed that I got the role. And then Bruce phoned me up, who's now become quite good friends. He phoned me up and said, yeah, you know, you've got the job, you know. And I said, oh, that's great. What does that mean? At the time, I wasn't sure if it was a film, TV, what was going on. Yeah. And he was like, Maynard, it's an international motion picture. I said, all right, oh, great, thanks.
Yeah. You were just happy to work. You just wanted to be able to have the job in it, and look at that. It was a big movie.
Pretty much. I think, you know, when you're starting out, that's all you want to do. I mean, I had my own game plan, which was I would spend a certain amount of time doing theatre, then I'd gravitate to TV, and then after TV, I'd move into radio. And it was almost like a 5-year plan to get me into, not radio, sorry, I moved into film. It was a 5-year plan to get me to film, and I think, as I said, I left in '89, the summer of '89, and I was shooting Mr. Johnson in January 1990, so it went a lot quicker than planned.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And then you had a couple series that you were on, a few episodes, Downtown Lagos, Performance, and then that led up to your time on Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. How did that come about?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was also strange. So I remember being at home, and I'd done a few other movies by this time, and I got a call, and it was the original director, Tom DeSerchio, I think.
Oh, okay.
It was. And he called me up and he said, oh, hi, man, I'm calling from the lot. And I'd been traveling out to LA quite a few times then, so, I'd to LA. So he said, hey, I'm just calling. I think they were in the Walt Disney Studios, I'm not sure. Anyway, so he said, and I've got this movie which I think you'd be great for. Have you seen Ace Ventura? And at the time I hadn't. I was like, oh no. I said, oh, don't worry, we'll send you a copy, we'll send you the script, and we'll talk. And so I got the film, watched the film, and thought, wow, this is pretty funny. And got the script, and there was hardly any dialogue for me in there. And it was all, it said, they're speaking an African tongue kind of thing. And I thought, oh, well, this is really interesting. And then I ended up in LA, so I then went to the studios, met them all, and they said, yeah, great, time before, blah, 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 and that was it.
Where was it? Where did they film that movie?
We shot it in Texas, San Antonio, and Charleston, South Carolina.
And do you have any memories of that movie? Because it was you and Jim Carrey for adults.
I do, yeah. I mean, because Jim Carrey and myself, we would often be made up at similar times. His makeup took a lot longer than mine. I think in total it took about 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm not exactly sure on that. And my makeup, I think, was about an hour, because I had to put the false ears on, and then obviously I had to be painted and so on and so forth. So we'd just sit there and just chat and stuff like that, which was great. And for me, I was just having a great time. Although, I think that was my first time filming in the States as well. So, I was like a kid in a china shop. Yeah. So many stories.
Yeah, how did you like the movie, like, afterwards, when there was, like, premiere and you saw it? How did you like the way that it turned out, like, from your end, like, in the roles that you had?
I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was great. I mean, because I remember there was one, as I was saying, when reading the script and finally being out on set, and then you had these two tribes, and they were meant to communicate in two different African languages, and at the time it was all kind of Umabunga and that kind of stuff, and I was like, oh, no, can't do that. That won't fit well. So because I'm of Nigerian parentage, I use Igbo, which is the tribe I'm from, for one of the tribes, and then one of the actors who's on the other tribe was South African, so I use Xhosa for that tribe. So the actual languages that we speak in that are actually real. So like, Metu Orcha, does actually mean white devil in Xhosa, it's a South African language. And that I thought was, was just a little touch, but I think for me, looking at it and seeing the movie, I thought, oh, that really, really worked. As well as obviously the superior comedic acting of Jim Carrey.
Yeah, were you familiar with Jim Carrey, like, before that? Before they sent you the tape of Ace Ventura?
I think I'd seen a couple of episodes of Living Cutler.
Oh, okay.
And so I was. And, and also Tommy Davidson was on the project as well. So I was familiar with having seen him and stuff. Exactly. So that for me was kind of eye-opening. But I had no idea, and to be honest, I'm not sure many of us did have an idea of how huge that movie was going to blow up. I mean, I remember at the time we were filming, Jim Carrey became really hot property because The Mask had just been released, and that just stole the show. And because of that, and also people started revisiting the first Ace Ventura, he was in very, very hot demand. And so I kind of began to realize that, this could be something quite big. Yeah. But I was young enough and naive enough to actually just enjoy it, which I did.
That's good. No, that's a great, I like the second one better than the first one. I think that throughout the whole movie, just his interactions with people and because he's in he's a fish out of water, and he's like trying to like fake it till he makes it, like the whole movie, like with trying to talk to people and bumblebee tuna, and just like just some of the lines that he has, the things that he doesn't understand, like he's licking the guano bowl and. He's great. Jim Carrey's so good. I would love if they were able to make another one. And I thought, so on this podcast, because we talk sequels, there was another one that came out in 2009 that was like that he had a son. And
that's right, yeah. So I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you haven't?
What's that like?
It's pretty funny. I interviewed the actor who played Ace's son, and he was great in it. Like, he acted just like Jim Carrey, like his mannerisms, but just the story was kind of, cause it would have been great, like watching the end of the calls, you almost make it seem like Ace is gonna have a kid then, in that final scene where everybody's chasing him.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I really learned from the movie is like, I don't think, although I've done comedic scenes before, I don't think I've done a comedic movie. And seeing the way in which Jim Carrey handled it, for me, was fascinating. And how he was able to kind of turn on that stick, when it was needed. I thought was superb.
And then, so after that, those are some great stories. So you were in a lot of movies after that.
Yeah.
Particular memory that you had, or a movie that you really enjoyed?
Well, I've enjoyed them all. I mean, Ace Ventura was really good fun because, you know, and we kind of became a tight team, because in San Antonio, where we first started filming, you know, lovely town, you know, we've got the Alamo down there and so on. And they have the famous river walk. Well, this was back in 1995, so it may have changed. But apart from that, it's kind of convention centre, so it's really, people go there for like a weekend or a couple of days, and everything is kind of geared to entertain you for a couple of days. But when you're there for like a month, those couple of days begin to stretch out, and there's only so many days you can walk along the river walk and find it really interesting. And that kind of hits you about the third day, I'd say. Maybe the fourth day if you really stretch it out and you go shooting the shops today. So we got, so we became very close, you know, we would hang out with each other and so forth, which was also well. And it was quite a big cast and crew as well, because, you know, we filmed in various different places, and there was a lot of green screen as well for Jim to do, which I think they shot, some of that I think they shot in Canada, I think, I'm not quite sure. So and as I said, you know, I was a little bit younger than I am now, so I had a blast, a real blast. It was great. But in terms of, I suppose, one of the other most memorable movies would be Mr. Johnson. And that primarily might be because it was my first movie.
Yeah.
So, you know, so it was all new. For some reason, I think I've been lucky. Although I've often been sort of like shaking inside, I'm a bit like a duck, you know. Up above, everything looks wrong, but below, the legs are going, you know, 6 to the dozen. So I kind of just seem to just soak it all in. Also, as well, we filmed Mr. Johnson in Nigeria, and so I think that helped, because obviously being Nigerian by parents, I was kind of familiar with how the country operated, so it made it slightly easier for me, really. So although I was quite young and new to the game, I knew the country, which a lot of the other actors and crew members didn't, so that compensated for my young and naiveness, if you like.
That's great. So now when it comes to acting, right now you're doing theater, do you prefer, like, is there any that you prefer to do?
Well, it's a really, that's one question I think I often get asked, and I always is they're kind of very different things, and that's the way I look at them, you know, and I see theatre as like a conversation among a group of people.
Yeah.
Whereas TV is a conversation amongst one person. So they had different rewards, and by that I mean, and that also is the same for the acting, you know, when you're acting on TV, it's as if you're acting for just one person in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's who you're communicating with, the screen. Obviously on stage, depending, I mean, right now we're performing in a 1,200 seater, so it's not that large. So I have to reach those 1,200 people. That's a difference. Then the other difference is the fact that, you know, the reaction is instantaneous when you're on the stage. So you know pretty quickly if they like. If you get something wrong, you have to deal with it there and then.
Yeah.
With film, that you don't have that reaction. You have to wait until the movie's released, you know, or they test it out in the theatres, and then you find out, you know, if you're any good, or then you go to the screening, and then you may hold your head in your hands, or you'll be jumping for joy, depending on how it's put together. So it's very, very different with different disciplines, and I enjoy them both. I mean, the one thing I think the advantage that film has, obviously, is that it's generally paid more.
Yeah.
And also you get a nice memento once you finish the job, which is, you know, you have a copy of the film or whatever it is in the theatre, you can save a program, but that's about it generally.
Yeah. But when you do theater, do you still get like a rush when you're on stage?
Yeah, I get that rush if I'm on stage or in front of the camera.
Oh, really?
It's slightly different. Yeah, it's slightly different because on stage you're there, you're naked, and whatever happens, you and your cast members have to get out somehow. And on film, there's that rush there because you want to get it in the can and you want to make it as best as it can be. You don't really, once you've done the takes and stuff like that, most of the time you don't get to redo it, unless obviously it's really bad and the director says, oh, we're going to reshoot yesterday's scene. There was a technical glitch. Meanwhile, they're not saying to you, like, you were awful.
Oh, man.
So I still get that. I've been doing it a little while now.
Yeah. Yeah, you just hear from even like stand-up comedians, like people at all the interviews, whenever you see people that go on the stage, whether it be theater or stand-up, they say no matter what, even if they've done it for a year, the first time, or like 25 years, so like when they go out there and they just get like this rush with everyone. It's like addictive because everyone is there to see you or your castmates as well.
Exactly. I mean, the other thing as well is I tend to think what happens as well is the nature of that rush does, not so much that it changes, but how you deal with it changes.
Yeah.
So when you're first starting, those nerves, can crucify you. You can come out, you can be tongue-tied, you're sweating all over the place, you've got palpitations, and it may take you 10 minutes on stage to calm down. And then as you become more experienced, and all those nerves into kind of a much more productive energy, which you could then use when you get out on stage.
No, that's true. And thank you so much. And I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, you're very welcome. And
have a great rest of your day.
Oh, thank you. You too.
So that was Maynard. It was so great that he carved out some time to chat, and I hope it sounded okay. We used this recorder that we only tried a couple times a while ago, and trust me, we're never going to use it again. So your homework now is to watch Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. It's not like the homework, like a boring research paper. This is like one of those homeworks like you build a volcano and it explodes in your living room. Some cool stuff. So this was a really fun movie that for me and Jamie to record. So don't forget to listen to our chat with the Wachati Chief, played by Damon Staniford, this Monday. And don't forget to subscribe, review, rate, share our podcast, tell all your friends. Check out our new website, sequelsonly.com. We have pages for each of the movies with movie trailers and a lot of content. So check it out. Good night.